Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Crypto Hour. Today is Friday, the 6th of December. At the new time of 9 a.m. UK, from now on, this Crypto Hour is going to go on at 9 o'clock in the UK, following alternate weeks, the AAW long-term session. As I was saying before I remember to switch the recording on, there has been, Bitcoin since the last time we had this call 2 weeks ago. Bitcoin has broken $100,000 ceiling. Everybody was waiting for this, for this to happen. And now with that, there's follow-ups, because Bitcoin doesn't go up in a straight line. So they're all like kind of fun and games are starting to happen. So we'll pay some attention to what are the possibilities going forward. Also look at what's going to happen, and also some and we start as usual with the economic news and see what's in store for us, because today is an important day from that point of view. So let me share my screen. Okay, can you all see my screen? Can you see the economic calendar from Forex Factory? Okay, so a couple of things. Maybe start. I'll say the week wasn't too busy from the point of view of economic announcements. There's a CPI announcement from Switzerland, according to forecast expectations. The main thing that we were looking at for this week, the job, as usual, every week we have the job figures that get published in the US. We'll look at my FX book as a little bit more granular. So these are the figures that came out yesterday. So still a fairly buoyant job market, but with this kind of initial jobless claim that keep and worrying slightly the authorities. And so we'll see how that now will influence the policy going forward. And today we're going to have an important announcement, which is the most, for trading wise, is the most important announcements of the month, at least of the regular ones, which is non-farm employment change. You might know it as a non-farm payrolls referred to, and also an unemployment rate. But this number here, the non-farm payroll, especially if it's significantly different from the expectation. So we're expecting a large uptick from last month. Okay, so we had last month 12,000. This month expectation at 200, roughly about 220. And so if this number comes, quite a bit different from this, the market will adjust instantaneously within seconds. So the one thing I am telling everybody, also everybody that's doubles in market activity, whether it's forex, whether it's crypto, this affects everything. Okay, stocks and shares. So when this announcement is due to become live in about 4.5 hours, okay, stay out of the market. Don't have any short-term positions, because this can seriously burn you. Okay, sometimes it can work in your favor. Most of the time it will work against you, because if you have a stop loss, the stop loss will be triggered by the volatility, even if it ends up going in your direction. So stay away from the market for at least like 15 minutes before and after this, because it's going to be like is the one time in the month where there is like a volatility that's just like too big to handle for a normal account. So if you have, if you're managing the accounts of a hedge fund or something like that, it may be slightly different, but most of us on this call don't. So
look on those. How were they getting the data as of when?
Sorry, say again, Kim.
Well, as of when? I mean, now we're only on the 6th day of December. Is this data that they've got as of the end of November, or how fast do they've got the numbers there?
Yeah,
is it quite current?
Yeah. So if you want to find any information like this, if you click on this, and you find out the detail, okay. So it's doing the previous month. So these are the numbers from November. Okay, they are released in December, and so on.
Okay. Well, you start thinking it's uptick a little bit, I think, because if people are taking on staff, hopefully for Christmas. but then, come January, those people won't be working anymore, so it's to me, it could be a very short-term thing.
Yeah. So this is why we got this forecast, the expectations, because that's priced in a way. So there is, as you can see, the last month was 12,000, and this month expectation is 200,000. So obviously that is already expected, to have more people that get employed just for Christmas. So that's normal. So the way that they do the analysis, that they look, okay, historically they look at seasonal analysis. So what normally happens in November, what normally happens in December, and so on. And so this is how they do their forecast, and we'll have the higher and lower forecast. And then they see if numbers go significantly outside of that forecast, then the markets readjust almost instantaneously. Okay, and you can compete with that as a single individual investor. You can compete with that because there are very powerful computers, can make decisions, analyze everything, can make decisions in fractions of a second, and you simply can't beat that. So just stay away, be an observer, and then it doesn't mean that you can't do anything today. If you want to, if you are into the market, you can do something, but just let the noise dissipate first, and then do whatever you want to do. Now, if we go from this for the economic news, so what are the expectations now for the next few weeks? So as I told you, by now you must be bored of hearing it, but the two main things that the Jerome Powell looks at and the Fed are the inflation and jobs. Okay, so those are the two. Their remit is to keep inflation within a certain range. Okay, historically has been between 2 and 2.5%, and at the same time keep the job market working properly. So now the inflation has become less of a problem, is starting to be again within the range that we're expecting. The main focus will become jobs. So this is the things this is why these announcements I was saying yesterday's and today's are important, because it will determine going forward what their policy towards interest rates is. So the expectations, what I expect to happen is that in December they will cut interest rates again by probably a 0.25%, and going forward, they will use these interest rate cuts simply to keep the job market functioning, to give it a boost in a way. The same thing that we've been talking about for the last few months still applies now. At the moment, kind of like interest rates on the 10-year bonds, for example, are ticking over about 4.5%. Is still a very good rate if, as the analyst expects, we're going to stop at about between 3 and 3.5%. That means that if you were to buy bonds today, by the time interest rates are normalized at about 3%, then your bonds are going to be worth more, while at the same time, picking the monthly interest coupons, at a higher rate that you will be able to get in the if you went to any commercial bank yourself. So now going on to Bitcoin. Obviously, we reached 100,000. This is what happened last night. So there was like a flash crash. We went all the way. This is in the evening. We already had gone down from 100 and roughly for about 104 to around 100, and then we went all the way down from 100 to 91. And can you see how quickly this can happen? So this is a 15-minute. Let's go into a 5 minutes. Let's have a look. 5 minutes. Let's go on to smaller ones. 4 minutes. Okay. So it's roughly 5 minutes it took. So in 5 minutes, it went from 98,000 to 91. Okay. Yeah. A drop of 7%. Okay. And if we actually think you're looking at from yesterday, so at about 3 p.m. for me in the UK, to it was last night at about 10:30. So in about 7 hours, we dropped about 12%. And since then, we're gone up another 8%. So down 12, up 8. At the moment, we're up 7.5%. So this, guys, I mean, just to translate it for you, this is dreamland for a trader. It's dreamland, because to get an asset that moves, 8-10% in a day and back, so 12 minus 12 plus 8, it means that there's a lot of juice to be collected here. And I'm not ashamed to say I had a couple of orders that were standing in the market that were nicely picked up along the way. One has already closed. Another one is still alive now because of, I'm aiming for, a retest of this size. But there is lots there to be picked up. Now, what is to be expected in the next few weeks and months? And this we need to go back a little bit to have a look at least from when we started, when the price turned around at the beginning of 2023, and it formed some patterns that we can analyze. So this is what happened, for example, from the beginning of 2024. Okay, without going too far back in time, but just to analyze. Actually, let's go from 2023. Okay, so let's have a look at the pullbacks that we've had along the way, because this is what to be expected in a way. Bitcoin doesn't go up in a straight line. So this is the first pullback in March 2023, minus 23%. This is the second one when we are from July 23, another 22% down. This is when this move here was after the ETFs were launched, the Bitcoin ETF, 21%. And then we made a run into the new all-time high in March. We dropped another 33%. So why am I showing you all this? Because obviously, whenever there's another significant move, and here we have broken the previous ceiling recently, at the end of October, beginning of November, we made a new all-time high with Bitcoin, and we moved from about 70 to where we are now to about 100. So what are the expectations? What could happen? We already seen what happened overnight, kind of 12% drop in 5 minutes. Okay, so the expectation, if anything like the previous moves happen again, we could expect a drop of about 22% will take us down to 80,000. It could even go and retest the previous high. So this area for me becomes very, very interesting, because this could be like a really good entry, because this is lots of demand, because it's below the previous high. So it represents an area that would have been earmarked by professional traders as a good entry point if we do get a retest. If we get a 30%, this will be a 30% drop, and it will take us to around the 70,000 mark, between 74 and 67. Okay. Now, while all this is happening to Bitcoin, what we need to pay attention to as well is also, Bitcoin is obviously the most famous one, is becoming an institutional asset and so on. But obviously there are lots of, for us degenerates in crypto, there are lots of other coins that are interesting to us, like the all the altcoins. Now there are a few things that can be observed. Can you see here on the bottom right, I've got these three symbols: total 2, total 3, and then there's another one as well, which is what this represents. Total is the total market cap. This is the total crypto market cap, which at the moment stands at 3.5 trillion. Total 2 is the same but excluding Bitcoin. So you can see Bitcoin represents more than half of the total crypto market cap. And so just to show you, so Bitcoin has already gone and established a new all-time high by about 40%. Okay, if we exclude Bitcoin, we still haven't reached the levels from 2021. So this is what I'm saying. Although we have seen all this, everybody's excited that is into cryptocurrency, we still haven't seen any strong bull market type move, because for me this is not the bull market yet, and I will start considering a bull market once we start going over these hurdles, like creating new all-time highs for all other coins apart from Bitcoin. Total 3 is the same if we exclude Ethereum, and this is just now in literally the past couple of days has created a new all-time high, but it hasn't maintained it. So now we're back into just below. So you see all the kind of the headwind that there is when we're reaching these levels, because there are people that are taking profits, and this is why we're seeing these like hurdles. It takes a little while to come. But if we have to think about it, let's translate this into what Bitcoin has already done. Okay, the previous all-time high was 1.1 trillion. Had 40% to that, so we'll need to get to 1.5 trillion in total value simply to get where Bitcoin is today, without even thinking about, outperforming it, because during a bull market, the altcoins grow even faster than Bitcoin, and normally have a crazier performance than Bitcoin. So the last one is, I think, let me see, what's it called? I don't know the name. I think it's others. Okay. So if you look at this other one, others. So this is the total market cap of the excluding the top 10 cryptocurrencies. Okay, the top 10 coin. And as you see with this one, again, we have just now in the past few days created a new yearly high. So we just move above the 2024 highs. We're still about, where is that? Let me see. Let's measure it. At the moment, we're still about 15% below the all-time high. So there is a lot of room on the upside. And if we see where we are right now, it's here. Compared to 2021, this is where we are. And this is what we had then. So this is what happened in December 2020, really. And where were we? So this would have been like this move here. Okay. And this is what happened from January to May. So just put it into perspective. Let's put it here in a clean place. How many times do you think that fits into this? Now, just to give you an idea of the violence of the moves when these things happen. Now, the first thing I wanted to make it very clear to all of you is give you like a few pointers. By the way, I'm not going to tell you buy this coin or buy that coin, because that is one of the biggest problems that there are in cryptocurrency. And it's the first thing I'm going to tell you: don't base your investments on YouTube channels. Cryptocurrency expert on YouTube, because almost all of them are being picked up as shilling coins for personal profit. Okay, so what they do, they buy a big amount of a certain coin, then they do a YouTube video saying, look, this coin is fantastic. Look at what they're doing. They're doing this, they're doing that, they're doing that. So everybody, then there's a whole lot of volume of people that want to buy that coin, and they sell it to you, basically, pocketing a nice profit. Okay, so you're just the person that brings the money to these people. Okay, don't do it. Don't do it. Some of these projects might work anyway because they're good projects, fair enough, but they all very heavily invested in the projects that they talk about. So that's the first thing I'm going to tell you. But I'm going to give you some ways of keeping safe while we going through this exciting time. Okay. The first thing that we need to be careful of is scams. This is one. This is a message that I received from by email from KuCoin today, and this is serious. Okay, so and I've told you before, they getting people are sending fake SMS messages, fake email that looks like just like this. Okay, just looks like KuCoin. It's a genuine message, and it will it will have a link that will take you to a page where you ask to put in, to log in, to put in your login details for KuCoin. And you might get a similar message from Binance, from Kraken, from all the main exchanges. Now, the first thing I can tell you, and I've told you so many times by now, you should know, you should never click on anything that you receive in a message or an email. So if you want to go and check, what they tell you is correct, go and log in a normal way. Just go and log into KuCoin. You will have these messages anyway in your system. Okay, but don't click on that. Or, I mean, this is a genuine message, but generally speaking, don't click on messages you receive on your phone or by email, because if they're done, they're very professional normally. They look just like the real thing, and you end up giving away your passwords, your email address they use to connect, and then there are ways as well to bypass any extra security that you have, especially if your security, it may be a 2FA, includes an email that you receive. Emails can be hacked. So if that's the way that you use to connect to your exchange, they got your password already. They can get the two-factor authentication by hacking your email, because you have that system selected, and they can get into your account. Okay, once your crypto is gone, good luck trying to get it back. So that's the one thing. Other thing. Now, again, and we go back to either things that you see on YouTube or other people that recommend them to you. If you see these movements in Bitcoin, some of the coins are even much worse than that. So look at what happened with, for example, Stellar. Okay, so this is Stellar from, just the 2 weeks, guys. This is 16th of November. Okay, let me just get the dollar one. So that's the Bitcoin, the relationship with Bitcoin. Let me go into the dollar. Okay, so they've gone from 12 cents to 64 in 2 weeks. Now, it is a natural reaction. I won't blame you if you feel like that. What would everybody think? Is just you feel FOMO. I need to buy some of that. Okay, and what happens is that you buy these when it's 64, and then it drops 30%. And then you think, okay, what about now? Let's buy some XRP. Okay, same thing. This is gone from 50 cents to almost $3. Don't buy now. Don't buy now, guys, because you just provide the cash flow on the people that bought that 50 cents, and they happily sell it to you at $3. So the one thing I'm talking about, I'm not saying that either Stellar or XRP are not good projects, or Cardano for that much, because similar thing happened to Cardano as well, from 30 cents to $1.30. So there's lots of coins they are moving like this all of a sudden. What I'm trying to tell you is that avoid FOMO. So it's good if you analyze these coins and you think, I want to buy this because my analysis tells me that Cardano will end up in this cycle of $5. Fair enough. Don't just buy it because you see, wow, this is pumping, it's going. You look at your watch list and think it has grown 30% yesterday, I need to buy. No. So this is the biggest mistake you can do, and I've seen people do it again and again and again. What they do, they end up buying something. That's something they buy drop 30% or something. Oh, no, it's not doing well. Let's sell it. Let's buy something else. They're buying another coin that just pumped, and that's just grown by 50%, and they get burned there, and then they move on to another coin. Within a few weeks, you pretty much ravaged your crypto investment account. And although the crypto has gone up, whatever, 200, 300%, you might end up with less money than you had to begin with. So don't jump from coin to coin. Second thing, don't buy speculative coins. Don't buy the thing because, oh, this is going to be the next great thing, and it just come out, and I've got this big opportunity because I can get in on the ICO, and I can buy at the beginning. Guys, if you look at the coins I just showed you, Cardano, XRP, XLM, these are things that have been around for 5-6 years. They're not new projects. Because what do you think they've done during the bear cycle? They were still working and providing all the solutions that are bringing the volume today, because that work has already been done. A coin that is coming out now unless they have huge backing by Google or something like this that's decided to enter this cryptocurrency market, it's a completely different thing. They still have to do all that work. Okay, and you're seeing problems with a lot of these projects, including something like Solana. They grow exponentially, and then they can't cope with the volume they have. They need to shut the system down to adapt it, to make adjustments. So what I'm trying to tell you, there is a lot to be made with projects that have already sorted out this thing in the previous cycles. And we see every day projects that pretty much like come up from, you say, oh, from nowhere, because they've grown all of a sudden 50% or 100% in a day. Like that's another one. This is what Tron did. This is a couple, literally this week. It grew like 50% in a day. Actually 100%, we're talking about from 22 to 44. This is like one day. And since then it's, dropped back out for it. So this is what I'm saying. Don't buy at the end of the pump because you end up being burned. Eventually, if you hold it, then yes, it might eventually go up, beyond that point, but it's not a good place to buy. This is what I'm trying to say. So I would say, if you are doing analysis, if you're doing due diligence, concentrate in the projects that got substance. Okay, leave meme coins alone. I don't know anybody, apart from people that post it on YouTube, they were lucky, but I don't know anybody that's consistently making money with meme coins. Buying and selling meme coins. Just leave them alone, please. If you want to if you've got a little, gambling fund, something like that, you want to play around with it, fine, but don't put your main investment funds into crap like this. Okay, because they really have no utility. There's no reason of being. The only reason why they go up and down in price is because there are people that are speculating wildly on these things. But you pretty much have to spend all your day in front of the computer waiting for these big moves to happen and sell before, you are, when you're here at the top, when everybody's starting to sell, you want to be out before then. But it's a game. It's got no fundamentals behind it. Okay, so just leave them alone. So we already told about, don't follow crypto YouTubers advice generally. If you might get some tips from YouTubers, then go and do your due diligence. Don't buy something because whatever, Benjamin Cohen said this or said that. Just do your own research. Some of them are better than others, but don't base your investment advice then on their recommendations, because they are involved in these projects. Then obviously we said about be careful about scammers. Scammers come in many guises, and often is proposing something that sounds too good to be true. It often is too good to be true. Now, although big returns are very possible, as we're showing this every week, showing here every week, be careful about things that are unproven and on which you can do very little research, because very new projects often are very hazy. And what happened in 2017, for example, many projects were sold on the strength of a PDF. Call it white paper, whatever you want to call it. At the end of the day, it was just a PDF document, and people have put millions on some projects. They have no fundamental whatsoever, and no and no way of checking if they were genuine or not. So these things are still going on, a little bit less than before, but these things are still going on. So be careful, because nowadays it has become absolutely very, very, very cheap to actually have your own cryptocurrency. Okay, you can do it. This just news. You can do it on PancakeSwap. If you want to have your own coin, you can generate it on PancakeSwap. You will need about, I think, 20 grand of BNB and provide some liquidity. But everybody can do it. Anybody can do it with very little cost. So once you have something, and you might start selling, saying it's this fantastic opportunity, but it's got no fundamentals behind it. Again, it's just a coin that you created out of nowhere. So you really need to analyze these things the same way that if you're investing in a company on the stock market. And if there is no information for you to look at, then leave it alone. why should you put your money there if if you can't check them out, Okay, so the other thing is avoid emotional investing. Okay, so this thing you are going to see incredible things over the next few months. So things like this will become, common. Okay, see big swings like coins that double overnight, they grow by 30% in 24 hours. Is going to happen on a regular basis. Now I was thinking, I'm see if there are any examples. There's nothing much today. It's dropped by, obviously we had that big drop, Bitcoin. So all the today, oh, there's one. DYDX. Okay. It's an exchange that's kind of derivative exchange, 26%. So even on a day where crypto is going down in price, there are so these examples are everyday thing. So don't get emotionally involved, and as I say, that brings you then that impairs your decision making, because then you're kind of excited, I need to get this before it's too late, etc., all these things, and you end up making the wrong decisions. Take your time. Yeah, I'm saying don't spend weeks on it because things are moving pretty quickly, but do a little bit of research. Don't just, and while you are making your research, turn your charts off really for a few minutes, because that can cause problems. If you're doing your research on stocks and shares, or on forex, or things like that, or on gold, you can do it at the weekend when the markets are closed. Unfortunately, with crypto, the markets are open 24 hours. So you can do that. So there is lots of noise in the background. Turn it off, turn the noise off, and look at things properly. Now, look, as I said, we already looked at what Bitcoin could do in the next few months, and there are some signs on chain that's already coming through. So there's a couple of contrasting ideas from on chain. One is this Bitcoin fundamental index. These charts come from the guys that created Glassnode, okay, which is one of the main on-chain analysis websites that you can go. So, and they are flagging since that Bitcoin is weakening with this Bitcoin fundamental index, and as you can see, it's crossed over from price action. So that this normally precedes a correction. Okay, and the same that happened, with the correction in March after the previous all-time high. Okay, the same index was flagging a possible correction. Okay, although it didn't start flagging until we got to about 65,000. But still, if you had followed the instructions from the index, then you would have sold about 65, and you would have bought back at around 60. So it still doesn't pinpoint exactly where is the top or is the bottom, but it gives an indication that there is something that we might experience a correction. On the other side, we got this, which is the net realized profit and loss for Bitcoin, and from people that buy Bitcoin. So how many of those are realizing their profits? And you can see that the actual most of the holders are still holding out for higher prices. So although there are some indication that there might be a pause and a correction at this level, at the same time we see that many of the people that have bought in the past few months are holding out for prices above 100,000, because what the expectation is that we'll move again above 100,000, price will establish itself above 100,000, and then we're moving to the next layer, around 135, 140, where we might then have another pause. Okay, so there are two construct. These are all like on chain, by the way. They're not like somebody's a trader's opinion. So there are two contrasted signals that are coming through. So be ready. What I'm saying to you is that be ready for any eventuality, and do expect big swings. So if Bitcoin drops 30% from 100,000 and go back to 70, it's normal. It's not crisis. It's not time to running to the road and saying, please sell, sell your cryptos, the end of the world is nigh, or something like this. Okay, so it's something that happens all the time during a bull cycle. Obviously, what happens is that with bigger numbers, the corrections in dollar term are bigger. Okay, because 30% at 70,000 is 20,000, 30% 100,000 is 30,000. So the numbers are bigger and they're more, emotional in a way. Okay, so corrections are happening all the time. If Bitcoin dropped 30%, how much do you think all coins may drop? We're talking about at least double that, 50, 60, 70%. These things happen during a bull cycle. Okay, so what I'm trying to tell you, what you should do, you should have now, before it gets too exciting, you should have a plan of what you do with your crypto investments. So there are two possibilities. And this is, we're going back to building your investment pyramid. So what does this mean to you? For me, there are some coins, for example, that I consider fundamental investments. And they are at the same, I consider them at the same level as I would do property, for example. So some coins I will not sell even at the high point of this bull market, because I have got a much longer outlook for what I want to do with those coins. Some others are just short-term investments. So I've been trying to maximize as much as I can what I will get during this bull cycle. So I have for each coin that I own in my portfolio, I have a goal and I have some profit-taking points along the way. So I know automatically what happens when it gets to a certain point. I will take, not all, but I will take part of the profit. When it gets to another profit point, I will take another part of the profit. And I've got that plan so that I don't have to get emotionally involved when things are happening and moving very quickly. It's difficult to make those decisions because your emotions get in the way. But if you do it now, when it's like kind of nothing has happened yet, and you decide, for example, I don't know, I bought Cardano at 20 cents, I will sell 50% of it when it gets to, I don't know, $5 or something like this. And then when it happens, you're not thinking, oh, shouldn't I sell? Should I, shouldn't I sell? You're thinking, okay, my plan was to sell, I don't know, 30% of my holdings in Cardano when it gets to the price. When it gets there, automatic orders, done. You don't think about it. It's just done. And if the worst that can happen is that Cardano keeps going up to $10, it doesn't matter because you have decided that you were happy. You made maybe 20 times your money or something like this. And it is a good practice to take profits along the way. Even if price moves higher and you're thinking, oh my God, I could have made more. It doesn't matter. It's a good practice for you emotionally to say, well, this thing has done what I wanted it to do. So it's reached my goal. Doesn't matter what the price will do from now on. It's reached my goal. I take it. And then you can, if you want to, you can reinvest it according to your plan. But it's a very good practice to start taking profits at the points that you have decided. Okay? So those are my kind of some ideas to make your journey easier during this time. Because as I say, things are going to move very, very quickly, very fast. And when that happens, it's difficult to cope with it. Even when things go well, it's emotionally very challenging. And I'll tell you because I've gone through it twice already. Okay, so I know what to expect, and I'm no different from you guys. Simply that I know that something will come, so I can move a little bit earlier because I think, well, I don't want the pain that I had, whatever, 6, 7 years ago, and I'm ready to avoid that. Okay, last thing that I can show you is, okay, what's happening with the ETFs at the moment. Okay, so these are the Bitcoin ETFs. As you can see, this week being quite a lot of money pouring into the ETFs. 1.2, 1.9, 2.3, 2.5 billion this week. And although there are news that the US has moved about 1.9 billion worth of Bitcoin to the exchanges, so obviously they're planning to sell it, and some of these moves may even come from them. So what we've seen overnight, for example, these kind of moves, to cause that move in 5 minutes, that means there's a big chunk of Bitcoin that got sold. Let me see if we can see if the volume shows anything. So yeah, you can see the volume. It was ticking over, boom. Okay, so there's nothing here that triggered in, trading wise, it's nothing here that would have caused this amount of volume. Okay, there's nothing at all. So this is a kind of institutional grade sell order. Could be the Bitcoins from that basically the US had confiscated and they're selling out, they're cashing out. We don't know. The encouraging thing is that after such a steep drop, there was plenty of appetite to buy back at below 94,000, and you can see it didn't last very long. If I remove the volume so we can, we can see that. So it didn't take very long. So less than 5 minutes, we stayed below 94,000 as the price dropped up to 92, but very quickly went back to 96. So this is something that you don't catch if you just looking at the screen. This you can only catch it if you expect it beforehand and thinking, and when prices appear, I'm thinking, well, I might want to put an order in down here because it's a good price, and then you have a limit order waiting on your system. But otherwise, it just like moves too quickly for you to do much when it's happening. Anyway, let's look at the Bitcoin ETFs. Lots of money pouring in this week, like 2.5 billion. We go now, the total is 33 billion. That's quite a big total. If you remember, there was quite a period up to here, I think, where we stood at like below 20 billion in inflows for quite a while before we broke that barrier, and then we moved on. Obviously, this is the inflows. They are worth now a lot more because Bitcoin has doubled during that time. So although the inflows are 33 billion, the assets under management are a lot more than that. And these are how as you can see, the BlackRock now is by far the largest of the ETFs, and 500,000, you can do the calculation at the moment. We still haven't got to 20 million Bitcoin total being minted in circulation. So 1 million would be what? 10%, sorry, 5%. So this ETFs owns about 2.5% of the Bitcoin. And Grayscale so this is where all the selling pressure since the beginning of the ETFs has come from Grayscale. And as you can see now, it's gone down. They used to have more than this. They used to have 625,000 Bitcoin when the ETF started. Now 2/3 of that have been sold. Why? For simple reason that where is it? Expense ratio 1.5%. Huge. Okay, 6 times bigger, larger than the second one. Okay, and that's the reason why we, sorry, no, not this one. Why there's been money flowing out of Grayscale and flowing into the other funds. They got much lower fees. The reason why they still have a large amount is because obviously when people take their money out, they need to pay taxes on it. So they need to realize their profits, and many people may not. They might be happy to pay the 1.5% even, but they don't want to pay taxes now. They want to delay until later. But what we have now, so this was by far the largest of the funds when the ETF started. Now BlackRock has overtaken it. Fidelity is doing the next few months will overtake them as well. As you can see, there's only the difference now between the two is only 15,000 Bitcoin. But the reason why I'm showing you, not because you care about if Fidelity is bigger than Grayscale or not, but it's because this is where all the selling pressure is coming from. So the smaller this becomes, then the smaller the selling pressure. And you can see here, okay, everything is pretty much green. This column, Grayscale, is all red. So they don't have much inflows anymore. They just have money coming out. Okay. And if we go on to the Ethereum ETFs, just have a look at this. Let's look at them in dollars again. So finally, you can see for a long time, this was in the red. Okay, again, the money coming out of Grayscale, this part of it was absorbed by the other funds, but not completely. So it was for a period up to recently, till towards the end of November, this was still in the negative. And then recently, as you can see now, as a positive of $1.33 billion. The last few days, there you are, look at this, 300, 450, 500, 600, 1 billion. So this is just in the last week, 1 billion has gone into Ethereum. And what's the effect on price? So this is, sorry, it's going to the daily. And so just recently, just this week, we're seeing almost like 1 billion going into Ethereum. The price has gone from 3,500 to almost 4,000. Okay, so you see how, so what do you think that the pressure started coming into from the ETFs as well? You can see in the charts here from the beginning of November. So 2004 to 2009. So this is the new animal that we are dealing with when I'm talking about the effect of money that comes from outside crypto to the price of Bitcoin and Ethereum. That at the moment are the only ETFs that are available in the US. That is, there are some ETFs in other coins, in Switzerland, Germany, Sweden, and other places, but they're much smaller. So this is the kind of effect of institutional money starting to get allocated to crypto as well. And it's just the beginning, literally just the beginning. The effect of growing 50%, more than 50% in a month, which is like insane. It's just the tip of the iceberg. Okay, so this is what I'm trying to say. Things are moving really quickly. Pay attention, make your plans now, and do not be left holding holding the stick at the end of this. Along the line, take your profits. When your account gets to a point where you are, if you're lucky, you get to 250, 300% in profit, take your initial investment out. So at least then you are, whatever happens, you can then be as aggressive as you want with the rest of it. That's you playing with the house money. But don't risk money that can be really important to you, and don't risk losing it simply because you just want more. You want more because you're seeing things that grow really quickly. As quickly as they grow, they will come back as well during the bear market. And if Bitcoin on average drops 75, 80% in a bear market, most of the altcoins drop 95%. So you will lose all the paper gains that you made and probably go into a loss during the bear market. So don't let that happen to you. Okay, so let me stop sharing now. I think there was a lot of trying to prepare you for this phase, okay, which might seem a little bit like I'm telling you what to do, but I'm not. I'm just worried, and I don't want you to be burnt, okay, especially if it's the first time that you are going through this crazy time. But they are coming, especially the first quarter of 2025 are going to be absolutely crazy. So you've seen the Trump effect already, and Trump hasn't even started. So he's not in power until the 20th of January. Okay, so the first crazy things are going to start appearing when the people are in place, the people that he's appointing are in place and start making decisions. Until then, it's just speculation. Okay, so after that, it's going to be, at the moment, we're still going to be in that, honeymoon phase. Everybody thinks that it's the best thing since sliced bread. It has been good for cryptocurrency. Might be even better if the people that he's putting in place are going to make some sensible decisions. If they accept advice from, the blockchain alliance, from people like Charles Hoskinson, people that know something about cryptocurrency, then some good things may happen. At the moment, I'll keep my judgment from wait until they actually have got the power to do the things that they say they're going to do. Okay, let me see if there are some messages in the chat box. AI does PDFs are breeze to create, and so too is the website. Yeah, that's very true, Steve. I'm thinking, yeah, with AI, it would take 2 minutes to create a what they call a professional-looking website to support any rubbish cryptocurrency project. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and by now we got plenty of examples of white paper, so you can copy one from anywhere. So there's going to be you're going to get lots of people on, if you're on Facebook, cryptocurrency groups or whatever on YouTube, there's got lots of people that say, come and have a look at my project, or this project is great, what do you think, So be careful. I would say keep it to the tried and tested projects out there. Eric?
Morning, Luca. Luca, what do you think of the video that Jonathan posted about Solana? Did you watch it?
Sorry, no, I haven't watched it. So what video was that?
Okay, then maybe you watch it sometimes. No, it's just the way Solana cheated its way up. And if that's all true, it's very bad for Solana.
Well, I mean, guys, we've been talking about, where have you been for the last 3 years? We've been talking about that pretty much every week. So Solana is pretty much a marketing project rather than a crypto project. That's how I see it. So what they have done, although they have done some interesting thing, their unique selling point is that we're cheaper, we're faster. Okay. Now they're not cheaper anymore. They're not, because there's lots of, with the technology and the increase in speed in a lot of projects, you don't need Solana. Ethereum, the layer 2 Ethereum can be just as fast as Solana. You don't need that. And the cheaper doesn't apply anymore because now that they have lots of traffic in their site, it's become more expensive. So that doesn't happen anymore. And the other problems that come to light, where first of all, it's the majority of the tokens are in the hands of VCs, so very few people own the majority of the tokens. The majority of the nodes that support Solana as well are very expensive to get. So again, there are a relatively smaller number of nodes that support the project. So again, that is centralized in a way. There've been several cases where they pretty much like hit a switch and turn the blockchain off. That shouldn't be able to happen on a blockchain, a decentralized blockchain project. That shouldn't be possible. It will never happen to Bitcoin. It will never happen to Cardano. There has 100% uptime. Jonathan can confirm that. It's never gone down. So those are the proper projects. That you should be spending your time. Solana is, unfortunately, there is this big question mark because they are basically given funds to everybody, to all the kind of like YouTubers, a thing to promote Solana project. They derive lots of the volume from meme coins and things like this. They have got no value in itself. So they have gone through, it's a completely different approach to the ones that the Cardano, the Algorand, the Ergo have taken, of building something solid and then bring the users over once they know that the system can support it. They use the same idea as Ethereum. Let's just kind of like the Silicon Valley approach, which is let's throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks, But that unfortunately brings problems with itself, because although it's good for innovation, it's not good for scaling up, because it's much easier to scale up something when there are few users than once you go like 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 million users. That is really this. And Ethereum has gone for 6 years trying to solve that problem, before they actually became a proof of stake blockchain. You understand? So they could have done it at the beginning, but because they delayed it, the problems of changing a huge blockchain, the way it works are massive, and they require lots of resources. So whether Solana can then, now that they got the volume, can they deal with all the changes they need to do to be able to actually do things in the real world? That's a big question mark. I don't know if Jonathan, that was your video, but that's how I see it, and I think it's a lot of analysts will see it in the same way, probably.
Yeah, it was a month or so ago, I think. It was just a good analytical post on technical fundamentals of the blockchain, and yeah, some of the issues with uptime and the ledger size is absolutely enormous, and that's how they're getting their speed. And as a result, we've had downtime where it just needs, you get together on a Discord group and say reboot your servers now, and then it restarts. So
Yeah.
it's not a robust system. So it was just a warning about that. The market activity on Solana is something else though. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So obviously what they've done, they have attracted a lot of users, and this is where the value is coming from. Because they got the numbers, so they got the volume. But now that we start seeing, so I don't know if you guys have read about just lately that Cardano has proven they can do like 1 million transactions per second. So with the Hydra, which is basically scaling up system. So the capacity is there. So this is where the projects like Cardano, you see, and you say, why all of a sudden Cardano's gone up? Why all of a sudden Algorand have gone up? Why these projects then they're not sexy and nobody talk about have trebled in price? It's because they've done that work when nobody was looking. And now they can, like, if you think, yo, what's can anybody tell me what Algorand is known for? What do they do? The one thing that they are probably the market leaders in CBDCs. So those are the ones. The Algorand will be the blockchain that probably will run the projects to run the digital currency of France, Germany. So this is why they got value, because they built the technology that can deal with certain use cases. And all of a sudden, oh, look at what happened with Algorand. Where has that come from? Well, it's come from years and years of work. It's not just all of a sudden become 3 times more valuable. They got MIT. The founder of Algorand is an MIT professor. They got the MIT community behind them. What do you think that when institutional, countries and institutions come to be involved with blockchain, do you think that they'll ask Algorand? They will know somebody in MIT that can recommend Algorand to them. It's just like, it's the way that things work. I've got more time for something like this than finding out what's happening tomorrow in Solana, personally. So, okay, anybody else?
Yes, hello, Luca. Quick question on Bitcoin. So say now you're holding a bit of Bitcoin now. Would it be a good idea to start moving that into altcoins? Because obviously your altcoins are going to have a bigger growth than Bitcoin.
Oh, definitely going forward over the next, in the bull. So this is what I'm saying. For me, the bull market hasn't really started yet. So definitely what happens is that you can see, the charts I was showing you before, you can monitor simply by keeping it on your watch list, the total market cap excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum, and then excluding the top 10. And you can see every day, sometimes you'd see Bitcoin, so the total market cap will grow faster. Sometimes the one excluding the top 10 will grow faster. And it's when that starts happening on a consistent basis, that's what they call the altcoin season. Okay, so the smaller coins and then start growing at a much faster pace. So yes, it will happen in the next few months. Timing it is difficult though. Because obviously if we do have a serious correction of 25-30% in Bitcoin, lots of the altcoin will drop a lot further than that. So depending on, again, for all these things, it depending on what your outlook is. So what's your outlook? What are you trying to achieve? If you're trying to time the market, then it's a lot more difficult than this. If you are just saying, well, I've got my portfolio now that's worth, I don't know, 3 Bitcoins, maybe re-employ some of those Bitcoins into smaller coins. Yeah, that will be over the next weeks and months. That would be a good idea. exactly when to do it though can make a big difference, because if we do have a 25-30% correction and then you exchange your Bitcoin for all coins, then you probably get twice as many coins as you would do now. So that's the difference. One thing can be it probably will still be a very good result over the length of the bull market. There's difference between having a good result or having a life-changing result. That could come from timing, but you need to also have the courage. Or when you see things dropping 25-30% a day, or putting the buy orders in, because that's scary. That is scary, I tell you. Like, I would have been, luckily, when I had my trade in Bitcoin last night, I was sleeping, so I would have been shitting bricks if I saw it live going down in 5 minutes, and you have to buy when prices are dropping. It's difficult mentally to do, So if you can do it and things happen without you even looking, is better. It's better. All right.
Then just maybe a last or two more questions, I guess.
Sure.
So there's going to come a time where we're going to start seeing a reversal in the market. Do you still see Bitcoin following history and pulling back 80% with all the institutional cash getting pushed in?
I've got no idea, to be honest with you. I've got no idea, because a lot of it will depend on when will that happen. So because you see, we might be in a situation like we have been in 2020, where there's a general sell-off. Stocks, shares, everything, gold, everything goes down. And it doesn't happen very often, but in cases it might happen. So if that happens, then crypto moves a lot faster than anything else. So that 75-80% of could happen. But the one thing that's happened since the beginning of this year is now that Bitcoin and Ethereum now as well have become institutional grade assets. So with that, with the lots of the volume coming from non-crypto savvy people, that means that we should see a slowing down, and we should see then those corrections being a little bit shallower than we've been used to. So exactly if we're going to get a proper bear market like we did in the past, if we just look historically, historically we'll say 2025 is going to be good, but that's going to be the end of it. Then we're going to look at 2.5-3 years of down prices. If the characteristics have changed, so this is, I don't know if these bull cycles come maybe a little bit too early, because we still there aren't that many crypto projects. They got relevance in the real world yet. We can see that they will, kind of the speed of that adoption, it's what will determine then the crypto in general becoming less volatile. Okay, so I've got no idea on what is going to be happening, but you've got to be ready for it. This is what I'm saying, because it's happened religiously in the past, at certain times. So from roughly May, June onwards, you've got to be ready for, at the very least, very deep corrections. Maybe not 80%, maybe 40, 45, but it's to be expected. Okay, did you have a last question?
Okay. I want to get your thoughts on take profit. I know you have to have a plan, so kind of, if you can just say, yes, that's a good plan, or no, that's a bad plan. I'm looking at selling half of my holdings at all-time highs. So once a crypto hits all-time highs, then every 20% increase after that, I sell 20%. Is that a good rule, or is that?
For me, that sounds very conservative.
Very conservative.
Yeah, because if you think about 20% of what? So when it goes up 20%, what goes up 20%?
The price. So from the all-time high, every 20% increase in price.
So for each coin?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so if you see during the bull cycle, you will see coin doing 600, 700, 800,000, 2,000%. If you take most of your profits up when it goes like 20, 40, 60, 80%, you're going to miss all that. And for me, kind of the strategy that I tend to use is that, especially with like more speculative coins, I'm not talking about Bitcoin and Ethereum or Cardano, but something like the smaller coins, is that you have a number of coins. Some of them I expect to go to zero. They will happen. But if I am aggressive with my profit taking, just having 2 or 3 coins that go and do 20 times will pay for all those that go to zero and have a healthy profits in the end. The last thing I did in 2003, the last bull cycle, I had about 30 coins. 26 of those went over 300%.
Sure. Okay.
So 26 out of the 30. So that's I had 6 that did 2000%. So, but you need to also have that in your plan to be able to take it. Otherwise, as I say, you're out. You've been waiting 3 years, and then you're out too early when things are really starting moving. You know, so I'm not just saying. The one thing you can do, rather than just thinking, well, I bought this at whatever $10 and I sell it at 12, just have a look at least the historical performance. Because if it's just take one, for example, I know the prices of, I don't know, Polkadot. Polkadot was a few weeks ago was $5. Okay, the all-time high is $50. You know, the least I expect during this bull market is that it's going to go back to those levels. So if I bought it at $5, that's 1,000%. You see, if I sold the 100, 200, I would be selling it now when the bull market hasn't even started, because it's already doubled in price from the beginning of November. Same with Cardano. Cardano was 30 cents a few weeks ago. Now it's 120. So at the very least, look at the historical levels, because that for me are the starting point of where I would consider taking profits. Because things have gone down so much that we have an historical opportunity right now, because we're not starting from the previous all-time high. We are starting from considerable discount from that, and where Bitcoin is already into all-time high territory, Cardano is still at 1/3 of it. Polkadot is 1/5 of its all-time high. So this huge upside potential. Why would you limit it? So
Okay,
that's my thought. That then obviously it's at the end of the day it's your portfolio, it's your decision. But if you ask me what my opinion is, I thought that was very conservative. Okay, and it's difficult. I tell you, Logan, I understand it, because this is so difficult to understand. Because we used to, we've been sold that 10% a year is excellent, is good. But just have to look at what MicroStrategy are doing. They're just Bitcoin. They've gone 10 times in a year. They've grown 1,000% already. So yeah, be a little bit. Don't go mad with your expectations, but at the same time, be on the aggressive side, at least for the next few months. Yeah.
Great, awesome. Thanks, Luca. That helps.
No problem. Okay, guys, we have gone to about like 10 minutes over. So unless there are any important Mugi, yes, I will reply to your message. I got a call now at 10:30, but when I finish that, I'll have a look. Okay. All right then. So next week, I remind everybody that there's going to be the AAW session is going to be like the hour before at 8 o'clock. And then this now is always at this time. Okay. So 9 o'clock in the morning. So I'll see you next week for a double bubble. We're going to have the AAW session first and then this one after. Okay. So see you all. Have a great time. Have a fantastic weekend. And, let's all push our vibes to push Bitcoin to a new all-time high. Let's see if we can get to 130. All right.
Thank you, Luca. Thanks very much.
All right.
Ciao, Luca. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Luca. Bye, everyone.